Kind of. Okay. How to apply tax. So we're going to talk about how to apply tax, or even like a discount. So really it's how to apply percentages, and it's a math riddle. So is it better to apply a 20% discount to your purchase before or after tax? So this is a very short sentence, but there's a lot in it. So the first thing we have to figure out is, what do they mean by better? They probably mean like, how are you going to spend less money, right? Will I spend less money overall if I apply the 20% and then apply tax? And in this case, do you remember what tax is in our province? Do you know? Tax is actually 13%, so we've got to put that in there, okay? So, or is it better for us to apply the 13% and then apply 20%? So you told me a couple things. You were 100% sure, and you said that maybe it's better to apply the tax first, because then when you apply that 20%, that'll be even more money off. And then you weren't sure and you kind of switched your mind. It's a really confusing question, this one. So let's pretend we're buying an item that's pretty easy to calculate. So I'm going to say I'm going to buy an item that's $100, okay? And essentially our question is asking us, do I take the 100 and then multiply by the 0.2? This would be applying the 20% tax. Oh, I think my pen's about to die. Or do we take the $100, multiply the 0.13, and then I'm going to say, then whatever that value is, apply the 13%, or then apply the 20%, okay? So we're just trying to figure out which order is better. So we're going to have to do a little calculation here, okay? So what's neat is, this one is relatively simple. If you remember decimals, you can almost pretend there's no decimal here. We just count the number of decimal places. So I have one decimal place, so I'm going to keep that in mind here. I'll put a number 1 here for decimal, 1 decimal. So that I remember how many decimal places to put in my answer. From there, 2 times 0, that's easy, 0. 2 times 0, 0, and 2 times 1 is 2, okay? The zeros, they change nothing, so I'm not even going to multiply with them. So the next thing I do is, there we go, 20. But remember, we were talking about a 20% discount. When I apply 20% discount, do I go from $100 to paying only $20? What does this $20 represent?
How many you're taking off?
How much I'm taking off. So I am actually taking away now.
$20 from 100.
Aha, I'm taking 100, subtracting my 20. We end up with 80, okay? So now we have $80. And I'll quickly talk about another way we could have talked about this is we could have said multiply by 0.8, which is 80%, okay? And the reason I could have done that is, you think of it like this. If we have 100%, which is that, and subtract 20%, we would have got 0.8%. And that's how we would have known that, okay? Either way, it works out fine. Let's continue. Now we have $80, and we got to multiply by 0.13. So there's 2 decimal places here. So I'm going to write 2 decimal. I know it's a little messy. Okay? But let's multiply our 2 values. So 3 times 0, 0. 3 times 8 is going to give us 24. Okay? Then for my next row, I've input a 0 because that's our tens column. Sorry. It's kind of jumping all over the place. Now we do 1. 1 times 0, 0. 1 times 8 is 8. And the last 0 we don't have to multiply. So we're going to add these together. 0 and 0, 4 and 0, and 2 and 8. Okay? And let's see. How many decimal places did we say there were?
1.
1? Oh, why did I do it again? We said 1 in the first one, but there's actually 2 here. So actually 2 decimal places. Now this is $10.40. Does that mean my final price is $10.40? No, what do I do with this? I have to add it to this $80 that we just started with, okay? So we're going to take that $80 and we're going to add the $10.40 on the side, okay? Because that's how much tax was, okay? So if you remember, this was our tax. So now we have to add it now that we calculated. We'll put our zeros. This is some straightforward addition. We're paying $90.40. Ooh, not bad with that discount, okay? Remember, originally it was $100. We're paying less than $100. What do you think's going to happen in the next one? Quick guess. More or less?
More.
More? Okay, let's find out. So, like we said before, I can multiply and then I can subtract it from 100. Or the other way I could do this, okay, quick idea here, because 100% is the value of 1, we can subtract 1.3 to find out what we could have multiplied by. I'm going to quickly tell you that would be 87. So we could technically multiply 100 by 0.87, okay? And very quickly, I'm going to tell you that's $87. So we'll do our calculations over here and see if we did that right. So 3 times 0 is 0. I should be doing that in black. 3 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 1 is 1. Then we go to the next value. We write in our 0 because we're multiplying by 2 digits, right? Now we do 1. 1 times 0, 0. 1 times 0, 0. 1 times 1 is 1. Should I give myself a little more room? I can't grab that. That's okay. We're going to add through. So 0, 0, 3, 1. Oh, the one thing I forgot is how many decimal places are in this question? 2. That's right. So we're going to count over 2. 1, 2. How much money is this?
13.
13. What do we do with that 13? Remember, this is the tax or the discount?
Discount. No, sorry, tax.
This is the tax. So we are...
You add
we're adding. Yeah, which means I actually did this wrong. I was thinking of it as a discount. It should have been actually added. So it should have been times 1.13 is another option. Anyways, let's do it on the side here. 100 plus $13 gives us $113, okay? Now we're going to apply our discount. How would you like to apply the discount? Do you want to multiply by 0.2 or do you want to multiply by 0.8? So let's talk about it. Remember, if we multiply by 0.2, we get a value, and then we're going to have to subtract from what we started, which is 113. Or we can just multiply by 0.8, and that'll give us right to the answer. Want to do that one?
Yeah.
Okay, because remember, it's a discount of 20%. So from 100%, if we subtract 20%, we can just multiply by 80%, okay? If that confuses you, you can just do what we did before, right? So let's multiply by the 0.8. It'll actually be much quicker for us. 8 times 3 is 24. We carry the 2. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 2. It's 10. Carry the 1. And 8 times 1 is 8 plus 1 is 9. There is one decimal place. There we go. So our final answer in this case is 90.4. If we put a dollar sign in front, what did we get?
$90.40.
Was that any different from here?
No.
It was. And remember you said this at one point. You're like, oh, maybe it's the exact same. It is the exact same. So why did that happen? This is the really important part, okay? I want to write about something called, let me make sure I spell right, associative property.
Associative.
Yeah, have you heard this before?
No,
Associative property, this is what it means. It means I can multiply in any order and I get the exact same answer. So, for instance, if I do 2 times 3, what is 2 times 3? Do you know?
6.
6. And what about if I do 3 times 2?
6.
Okay, that's a simple example. So there's example 1. But we were dealing with 3 numbers, right? So let's try another one. Example 2. What if I do 2 times 3 times 5? It's a little harder.
30.
Ah, very good. Okay, what if I do 5 times 2 times 3?
30.
30. And then I could technically do like 3 times 2 times 5.
30.
You start to get the idea? It's not making any difference. So if I were to write this question out algebraically, remember, to calculate this, we can get the purchased item. So I'm going to say ITEM for item. It's the item times the tax. Okay? And then technically, we're going to say times the discount. And the discount, think of it as if it was like that 80% here. Okay? It's a number less than 1. So our item was $100. Our tax was 13%, but we could have also multiplied. Remember I said we could have multiplied by 1.13? That's really important here. That's how we would multiply this. We'd say 1.13. And then the discount, instead of multiplying by 20%, we said we multiply by 0.8, right? That way we don't have to do that addition or subtraction. So here's the question. In this example, I do tax first and then discount second. What's the difference if I go item discount, tax. All right, I'm going to write it right above. The item is 100, like we said. The discount, we would use 0.8, and the tax, we do 1.13. And if we take a look, this is tasking us about associative property. Doesn't matter the order we multiply them in, we're going to get the exact same answer. Okay? That's a common riddle. People will ask you something like that, and as long as you know the associative, it's the exact same thing. It makes no difference. The one mistake some people will do, we have to address this. The one mistake people will see, like 20% discount, and then 13% tax, and they might like try to find the difference between the two, because we know 20% is going down, but tax is adding. So we might go, okay, what's the difference? Well, 20 subtract 13, that's 7. So let's say it's, well, technically minus 7. Think of it like minus 7. We're going to take 7% away. That wouldn't have worked. If I took 7% away from $100, I would have ended up with $93. And that's not the same price as the 90.4. Another common mistake people might say, apply a 20% discount and then a 10% discount. And they'll say, oh, well, that's a 30% discount. It's not. Okay? Because if you look at it this way, please be quiet. 20 times 10 should be 0.2 times 0.1 times maybe the item is 100. 0.2 times 0.1. We're not adding them. We're multiplying them together.
That's 200.
You're close. You're close.
It's not 200?
Yes, 20 times 10, you're right. It is 200. 20 plus 10 would give you 30. But remember, this is a multiplication question, so we're not adding those together. So those are pretty common errors where we'll just like add percentages or subtract them from each other. That's not the right process. Okay? Okay, good. I'm glad you were able to think about that one.